Heyo, it's OmniDog here. How you doing? Peace and love, peace and love. I am here to review and give you an overview of All-Star Superman. This is the Absolute, which is out of print, but the Deluxe is still in print and very much worth everybody getting. So that's why I've decided to just go ahead and use the Absolute to show you what I consider one of DC's best books ever and a top 5 Superman story ever. Yes. It's written by Grant Morrison. Here we look at the book under the dust jacket. It's written by Grant Morrison with art by Frank Quitely. And I think this is probably the best Frank Quitely art you're going to see. Some of you fans, some of you not fans. That's cool. Whatever. Do whatever you want. I loved it. And you can get the deluxe edition, of course, at organicpricedbooks.com. Use my code to get $2 off, OmniDog. And if you're feeling frisky and want to save even more, 5% off shipping 3 or more books together with code OmniDog. Ship it together. That's where you get the big savings. This, I think, is the epitome of the book. Just Superman chilling out, sitting on a hill, looking over everything peacefully. This is the vibe you get from Superman in this book. I'm not spoiling anything because it's in the description, but Superman is dying in this book, and this shows how he chooses to live his last days. Now, I will not tell you the ending, but I will tell you it is a hopeful ending. He dies, there he is, skimming the surface of the sun, because Dr. Leo Quintum, who is sort of like an Emil Hamilton type character, he is a good guy, but he is a scientist near the surface of the sun, and Superman has to rescue him, which Lex Luthor has set up to give. You know what? I'll let you figure it out how Lex Luthor has engineered this, but Superman is dying, and this shows you the way he chooses to live his last days. It's very typical Grant Morrison. Actually, it's very accessible Grant Morrison. It has some very high science fiction concepts, especially from Dr. Quintum. It is not. It's as accessible as Klaus, I will say. That's the other Grant Morrison book that I would say this is as accessible as. And one thing that makes this book what it is actually Frank Quitely's art, along with Grant Morrison, because, and I bookmarked a lot of spots, Frank Quitely's art actually helps with the portrayal of Clark Kent as bumbling, oafish farm boy, bumping into people, dropping things, hunched over. And he really sells it that, I've never really believed that, Clark Kent takes off the glasses or puts on the glasses and people say, oh, he's not Superman, he's Clark Kent. But in this, you kind of believe it. He's a bumbling goofball farm boy that Frank Quitely draws very well. And this is the story of how Superman chooses to live his last days and what he deals with. There are a lot of cool callbacks to the Silver Age. This is just some of the beautiful art. Let's see what I have bookmarked here first. This is the first callback to the Silver Age, because I feel like I remember this cover. This is the unknown Superman of 4500 AD with his face bandaged. Actually plays a pretty big part in this book, which is really interesting. This is Lois in the Fortress of Solitude getting a future call before that Superman's not around. Lois Lane is there to get the future call, and it's really funny that the unknown Superman is asking who was J-Lo. So there are a lot of cool callbacks to the Silver Age. This is Lois is in this Fortress of Solitude. Here, the art is not only great, but the color palette is perfect for this. One of the things, here's Crawl. One of the things that makes this book stand out so much is the brilliant, beautiful color palette and how well it's done. We get a callback from Samson. He was on a cover back in the Silver Age, Samson and Hercules, and here he is visiting with Atlas. They're trying to flirt with Lois while they create a problem. It's a very multi-layered book because there are stories within stories, and it is extremely well done, extremely accessible. It's heartbreaking, it's powerful, it makes you aware of just how good of a person Superman is, and it shows you in the book, because of Ma and Pa Kent, that he's raised to be respectful of others, to do well, to try and help people, and that's all because of his upbringing, which is brought up in the book. Not only his upbringing, but he runs across a couple of visitors, which we'll get to in a second. He has the 12 quests that he does in the book before his death. These are the historic 12 feats of Superman that the future generation knows about. And he does these 12 quests. Here he solves the unsolvable with the Ultra Sphinx. He is... they stole something from the Ultra Sphinx. He wants it back. Superman has to answer the riddle correctly. And I love this picture of Superman. He gave Lois superpowers, and they are kissing on the moon. And that is just beautiful Frank Quitely art, with just colored perfectly. And I love it. I don't want to give away too much about the 12 quests, but another fun callback to the Silver Age is that Jimmy Olsen's in this, dating Lois' sister Lucy, who is an airline pilot like back in the Silver Age. And Jimmy's always trying to woo her. And in this book, another callback to the Silver Age is Jimmy's constant change. Like he would, in the Silver Age, he would change into like a giant turtle boy or a elastic type lad. And in this, he's wearing women's clothing and gets judged the worst dressed. He says he looks great. But this is just a great callback to the Silver Age with some of these trophies and stuff, and his relationship with Lucy. And I thought these were nice little Easter eggs. And so Dr. Quintum has actually, this is Jimmy taking over for Dr. Quintum for the day. And Dr. Quintum has like a Technicolor suit, like Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. They discover black kryptonite accidentally. And here's the Superman of 4500 AD, along with some other Supermen from the future. This one is a callback to DC 1 million, that particular Superman. And now Clark really does a good job of being bumbling in front of Lex in jail, because eventually Luthor goes to jail, and Luthor's plot against Superman and humanity has several layers. Very well done, very interesting. This is a key part of the book. I'm not going to explain why, but it's really amazing. Once you get to it and get to the end of the chapter, it's heartbreaking, but it also tells you exactly why Superman is who he is because of the way he was raised by Mom and Pa Kent. Let's see another part I bookmarked. Whoop. Let's see a little bit more of the art here. And there's a Bizarro world that shows up from the Underverse. That's right, the Underverse. And Superman visits it, and he meets a character called Bizarro, who's the most intelligent. He's a high-functioning, intelligent Bizarro that Superman meets on Bizarro World under a red sun. Superman's having issues. You have to read it to figure out what's going on. But these are what the Bizarros look like. And I have this one. Now, this is what I was alluding to earlier. Superman was raised right by Ma and Pa Kent to use his powers for the good of the world. And these two visitors have landed on Earth. They are from Krypton. The book explains how. But they are a little bit power hungry, a little bit power mad, a little bit arrogant. Actually, they are complete jerks. How does Superman deal with these two complete jerks when he's not rapidly, he's slowly losing his powers throughout? And that's what's cool about Grant Morrison's run is he deals with how Superman's dealing with his impending demise in very inventive and creative ways that keep you reading because you're wondering what's going to happen next. So these are the two guys, man and woman. Don't want to tell you how it ends, but it ends great. That particular issue ends great. And I have this one highlighted. Because this, I believe this one leads to the next bookmark. There's an accident. This guy's here saying, don't put down the phone, Reagan. Just stay in the apartment as he's running. Superman's flying away from saving the metro rail. And then this is I think this is one of the most famous pages in modern comics. And I'm not spoiling anything by showing you it. The young girl is she's attempting to take her life. But Superman shows up and says, your doctor really did get held up, Reagan, from the earlier pages, and tries to instill into her that somebody cares. Sometimes that's all somebody needs. I won't go into all the various things that are on people's minds that are considering this. That's beyond me. But for this book's purposes, what this young girl needed was just to know that somebody cared and that somebody was out there watching for her. And my friend Lou from Omnibros and his own channel, Comics Guide 101, that was the first video. One of the first videos I ever watched was Lou, over 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, still when he lived with his parents, talking about how important this issue was for him. If you want to see that, go to Comics Guide 101's page and search probably back to 2014, and he'll explain how important this particular page and issue were to him. So that's interesting. There's real life impact to people because of this page and because of comics. This is in the Bottle City of Candor. Look at these colors. They're gorgeous. And this is the Tyrant Sun. That's one of his endeavors. And this is part of Grant Morrison's genius, I think. In the heart of the sun, there's a tyrant sun that Superman has to fight. How he deals with it, I'm going to let you guys find out. Whoops, I don't want to give anything away. Blah, blah, blah. And there's Clark again. So there's 12 issues that are all brilliantly written, brilliantly illustrated. Okay, I don't want to give it away. These are in the Absolute, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the Deluxe too. What's important is that it gives you a rundown of the characters, the heroes, the villains, a background on them. This is really good to know. Bizarros, Leo Quintum, the G-Men, Adam and Eve. So I don't see how it's not in the Deluxe. These are really important pages. So there you go. All-Star Superman, get the Deluxe edition. If you have any interest at all in Superman, this is a great place to start. You can start right from scratch, and you will enjoy it. If you're already familiar with Superman, you'll just enjoy it all the more. This is All-Star Superman, one of the great books of our time. That's right, I'm saying it. One of the great books of our time. And fabulous Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely. Together as a team, you will dig this. Peace and love, peace and love. Go to organicpricedbooks.com. Use my code OmniDog. You know the rest. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for tuning in. Peace and love, peace and love. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And get this book if you don't already have it. Peace and love.